with Ted Crawford, a wealthy Irish aeronautical engineer residing in Los Angeles. His job involves identifying precise flaws in aviation systems. After discovering a critical defect for a colleague, he hurriedly leaves without verifying the algorithm. The scene shifts to a couple, Lieutenant Rob and Jennifer Crawford, Ted's wife. Ted arrives home, stops, and enters the property, witnessing his wife's infidelity. Later, when Jennifer arrives home, Ted unexpectedly appears and tries to kiss her, but she refuses. He confronts her about her betrayal. Despite her apology, he shoots her in the head. Nearby gardeners hear the gunshot and check, but they are afraid of additional shots. Ted cleans the cartridges, washes himself, and burns his clothes. After the gardeners report the incident, the police arrive immediately, including hostage negotiator Lieutenant Rob. Rob enters the house, where Ted calmly confesses to shooting his wife. Rob finds Jennifer's body and checks for a pulse. Ted then points a gun at Rob, who struggles to take the weapon away until other officers intervene. Ted is arrested, and doctors later reveal that Jennifer is still alive. Deputy District Attorney Willie is informed by his colleagues about an attempted murder case, which he believes will be straightforward due to witnesses and Ted's confession. Willie immediately takes the case. At the preliminary hearing, Ted insists on representing himself, surprising both the judge and Willie. Despite their advice to accept a lawyer, Ted remains determined and requests a speedy trial with Willie as the prosecutor. That evening, Rob warns Willie about Ted's unusual behavior, but Willie remains confident in his victory due to the evidence and confessions. During a casual conversation with a colleague, Willie learns that the gun found in Ted's house was not the one used to shoot Jennifer. Furthermore, Ted never left his home that night, making a weapon swap impossible. Willie returns to the crime scene and discovers the absence of gunpowder residue on Ted's body or hands, missing bullets from the cartridges, and no fingerprints on the shells. He orders a friend to continue searching the house for the gun before leaving. Back at his office, Willie receives a file of evidence with every page marked "No" in red ink. He confronts Ted, who admits to hiring a private investigator to gather personal information about Willie. Ted jokingly invites Willie to be his defense attorney, but Willie declines. Ted shares a childhood story about discovering defects in 300 eggs as a lesson that everything has weaknesses, claiming he has found Willie's flaw. During the trial, Willie questions witnesses while Ted remains silent, sketching diagrams. When Rob testifies that Ted admitted to killing his wife, Ted exposes Rob and Jennifer's affair, presenting evidence. An enraged Rob attacks Ted, causing the trial to be postponed. Later, the judge discusses the case, revealing that evidence of Rob and Jennifer's motel meeting was obtained through Ted's investigator. Since Rob was present at the time of the confession, his involvement may have influenced Jennifer's statement to please him. As a result, the judge dismisses the confession and gives Willie a few days to gather more evidence. Otherwise, Ted will walk free. Willie's superior scolds him for losing the case, accusing him of being unfocused and unprepared, weakening his performance. Willie tries to explain that it was a trick, but his boss remains firm. Willie later visits Nikki, who reveals that she convinced her superior not to fire him. He thanks her, and they spend the night together. Upon returning home, Willie receives a package containing eggshells, infuriating him. The next morning, he informs his boss that he will pursue the case until the end. His superior advises him to resign, as losing the case would jeopardize his position at both the new law firm and the office. However, Willie is determined to continue, believing that someone like Ted should be behind bars. Willie visits the police station and reprimands his friend for failing to find the gun. Later, his friend agrees to search the house one last time. Willie also visits Rob, who is now depressed after being left by his wife and children. Later, Willie goes to the hotel where the lovers met, promising to retrieve surveillance footage from that day. Back at his office, he receives a taunting call from Ted. Willie visits Ted's house, but finds that the police still haven't discovered the gun. He visits the hospital, hoping Jennifer will wake up. But the doctor tells him it is highly unlikely. Even if she regains consciousness, she won't be able to speak or remember who shot her. Later, he is invited to Nikki's family home for dinner, where the case is discussed. Nikki's brother mocks Willie, unaware that he has resumed working on the case. Nikki becomes angry when she finds out and argues with Willie before leaving. Meanwhile, her father encourages Willie to fight for justice. That night, Rob offers to plant false evidence, but Willie refuses. The next day, Willie obtains the surveillance footage, but a cap obstructs the view, making it inadmissible in court. Willie and the investigator argue, as Willie believes the gun is still in the house, but the police have yet to find it. That night, Willie calls Rob to accept his offer to fabricate evidence in court. The next day, Willie resorts to a trick during the trial. He plans to incriminate Ted via a phone call while secretly waiting for security to present new evidence. As the trial begins, Ted pushes for acquittal, arguing that no reasonable jury could convict him beyond a reasonable doubt. Since this is legally valid, the judge asks Willie if he has any evidence to present. Willie is about to make the call but realizes Ted is too intelligent to fall for the trick. As a result, he claims he has no further evidence and Ted is released. Shortly afterward, a gunshot is heard. Willie rushes to find that Rob has committed suicide. Meanwhile, Ted retrieves his gun and goes home. Willie stays at the hospital, hoping Jennifer will wake up. The next morning, he arrives at the hospital, fearing that Ted will kill Jennifer. He begs Nikki for help, but she argues that he shouldn't be there and that she can't do anything for him. He tells her Ted will kill his wife, but she doesn't care. Willie then goes to his superior and learns that Ted has filed a restraining order against him for repeatedly visiting Jennifer's hospital room. His supervisor informs him that since Ted is a free man, Willie must stop. With no other choice, Willie turns to Nikki's parents, who obtain a court order allowing him to go to the hospital to protect Jennifer. However, by the time he arrives, Ted has already killed her. The next day, while cleaning a mirror, Willie's boss approaches him and asks him to return to work, but Willie refuses, feeling ashamed and guilty for releasing the killer. His employer argues that it was just an attempted murder case. This triggers a realization. Willie resumes reviewing legal documents and examining the facts. He meets with his detective friend, and as they accidentally swap their identical phones, Willie receives a mocking call from Ted. This revelation leads Willie to visit Ted's house, where he uncovers all of Ted's tricks. Willie realizes that Ted bought a gun identical to Rob's and went to the hotel to swap weapons. When Rob found Jennifer on the floor, Ted switched the guns again. Since Rob would bring his weapon to court, Ted swapped them once more. Ted smirks and mocks Rob for unknowingly carrying the crucial evidence into court. He claims he used only one bullet to kill two birds. Ted insists that even if Willie has evidence, he can't be prosecuted again for the same crime due to double jeopardy. However, Willie reveals that since Jennifer has now died, he can retrieve the bullet from her skull and compare it to Rob's gun. Ted is charged with first-degree murder, a new charge. The film ends with the police arriving to arrest him. During the retrial, Willie stands alone, surrounded by a team of highly paid defense attorneys.